Hi, my name's Jocelyn Matthews, and I'm the community manager here. So it's been a short week, and it will be a short Tardigrade Thursday as well. I would like to talk about a couple of events that we have coming up for June and July of 2020. And then I'm here to invite you all to a live event that we'll be holding on June 11th. So stick around for a minute and I'll tell you all about that. First, the sponsored events that we're participating in are the Time Series Data Summit and Open Source Summit. I know those names are kind of similar, but they're very different events, and I'll explain which is which. Time Series Data Summit is a partner event that we are doing with InfluxDB, and it's facilitated by devops.com, and we have a speaking slot there. We'll also be at Open Source Summit. Most of you are familiar with the Linux Foundation. We're there every year. And this year is no different, except that everything's totally different because they've pivoted to virtual. So the event for Open Source Summit will start on June 29th, and it runs through July 1st, and we will be having a virtual booth there. Before we move on to speaking about the virtual event that I'm inviting you to, I'd also like to fill you in on the Bounty program and the COVID Storj program, both of which recently kicked off. The Bounty program that I'm referring to specifically is the PHP Uplink library bounty. The prize for that is $7,500 in storage token, and we have a fairly defined workflow, and then we have a spec that's also available on the same page. I'm going to link to both of those in the description box. And then the second program I wanted to give you an update on is the COVID Storj program. The COVID Storj program is something that we have committed to in 2020. It gives away free storage for 1 year to researchers who are working on the pandemic. And the company is committed to giving away 5 petabytes of data in 2020. We've been getting some good response to that, and I'm pretty sure that we're still taking applications as well. So if you know a worthy group, or if you're part of a worthy group, you should come to us. We would be very interested in talking about supporting what you're doing. Okay, let's talk about the hackathon. So my team and I have been going around and interviewing a lot of engineers internally about their experiences with hackathons, what they've liked, what they don't like, why they joined them, what's fun and what's interesting about participating in them, and getting a sense of motivations and, what engineers think is a good hackathon. The reason for this is just simply to eliminate assumptions about what real people want by talking to the people who actually enter hackathons, instead of taking more of a corporate approach where we just assume that we know what people are going to like. In my experience, that's not the way that the funnest parties come together. So you really need to get out there and talk to people and find out what they respond to. So at this point, I think it would also be good to loop in the community itself and have a live conversation about what gets you excited about hackathons, what brings out the best innovation, what does it take for you to trigger your best ideas, and then work backwards from that is our goal. One thing that I'll also say is that we found when we were interviewing the engineers, and we also interviewed a few folks in other teams as well, but they were mostly engineers, some of whom's names you might recognize from the forum: Kaoyan, Moby, Stefan, Egon, Cameron, Ethan. Did I leave anybody out? Bill, Brandon. I feel like I'm leaving a couple of people out. One thing that came up was that sometimes people were worried that they were telling us something that we'd already heard. And I would say, for the purposes of this conversation, don't worry about that. Because when we hear the same thing from different people, all it does is validate that we've tapped into something that's important to the group. So everything that you have to share is really important to us, and we want to know. So if you can make it to the event, we would be so pleased and thrilled to have you. The entire team is really looking forward to welcoming everybody. The event will be held by Zoom, and that's simply because we already have Zoom set up, and I've used it many times before for Town Hall. We might be investigating other platforms for the future. I've been hearing really good things about Hopin, although I haven't been able to get a demo of it yet. I'm hearing kind of all positive things, and that might be a good way to help people select teams for the hackathon moving forward. But for now, I thought it was more important to just get in the room and have a conversation together. So you will need to register in advance for the meeting. And if I haven't mentioned this already, the event is being held on June 11th, which is a Thursday, at 12 o'clock noon California time. And 12 o'clock noon California is 3 o'clock in New York. I believe it's 8 o'clock in London and 10 o'clock in Moscow. I can put the local times in the box or in the invitation so that you can check it against your local time zone. But that's it for details. All you have to do is sign up, and we really hope as many of you can make it as possible. My last thing that I would say is I know some of our people are global. In fact, a lot of our people are global and may speak English as a second, third, fourth language. If that's the case and you don't feel comfortable communicating verbally, there will be options for you to communicate, by typing and texting as well, because we're just as interested in what you have to say. So if you're worried that maybe it's tough to speak in a hurry when there is a live group of people and you prefer to type your words, we will also be making arrangements for that to be supported as well. So that all said, we are really looking forward to having you. Please come if you can make it. And if not, please leave your comments in the forum. I'll see you next week. Thanks.